So you're thinking about making the move to Sacramento and you want to know about new homes, resale homes, luxury homes, selling your home. Well, guys, this is the live show we do every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. to give you an actual read on the market. We're going to talk about inventory, interest rates, demand, supply, seller pricing, Jerome Powell leaving his seat in May, all those fun things that you need to know about if you're thinking about moving to Sacramento. Let's get into the show right now. Corey, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you?
Good, good, good. And welcome everybody who tuned in or who's tuning in. Get in, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. I'm having an amazing week. I don't know. It's been a good week. And Corey, you're getting over being sick. So how are you doing?
Oh, the first couple days of this, well, it was more like over the weekend, just kind of got that 24-hour sickness kind of feeling, and then, a couple vitamins, early nights to bed, good rest, and I'm feeling back in action.
All right, all right, all right. We're going to go into it and talk a little bit about the market in general. We're going to talk a little bit about my thought about downtown, and we're going to talk about Railyards, development and growth, and about that stuff. Because if you're moving to Sacramento, not only do you want to come into Sacramento and like buy an amazing house, you also want to have fun things to do. And in my humble opinion, I think Sacramento is one of those spots that so much stuff is going in that almost on a daily basis, we get informed about new things coming to our area, which benefits you guys because eventually you're going to step outside of that amazing home you might have just purchased. And you're going to say, what is there to do here in the Sacramento area? And guys, we got a lot coming your way. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the market in general. Corey, what are you seeing?
I am seeing an uptick in activity across the board in my business. I'm seeing more buyers wanting to get out there and look at homes. I did have actually a couple buyers fall off during this more prime time of the market, which I think is interesting. But those are only a couple. I've seen a lot more sellers come to market, a lot more of those people that, you know, have been thinking about going on, ready to commit. So a lot of new listings coming on, and as you know, I work in the commercial space a lot, and so I'm seeing a big uptick in leases coming on. People looking to expand, especially in the retail sector. Industrial is always hot, but coincidentally enough, I am having quite a few people reach out for office space, and the office listings that I have are getting a lot more attention. We've had more showings in the past couple weeks than we have had in the past couple months. So I think it's showing those signs of the market warming up, heating up, and starting to move faster than it was.
Okay, I like it. I mean, here's the thing. Here, the two takeaways I got from what you just said too is inquiries and heating up. So a lot of people have been going, I think February is going to be better than January. I mean, that's kind of like a no-brainer. I mean, honestly, that's just for me. That's kind of exactly how it goes every single year. February does do better than January because January, guess what, guys? We're all kind of getting over Christmas break or holiday break or winter break, whatever. We're all getting out of, you're still in that cocoon of the family time and everything too. We're doing our vacation. So February tends to always be better than January. So when people say that, like, oh my God, February is better than January, it's kind of a no brainer. It's obvious. Of course, February is getting better. I still think that inquiries, people looking for homes, I still think I agree with you, Corey, 100% that there are a lot of people who are looking. I think though buyers don't have that big pressure behind them. So I think a lot of people are trying to make those good decisions, which they should. I think they're doing education piece of it. They're figuring out areas, communities, and everything too. So I do think that there is more activity, but I don't think it's I don't think we're seeing the buyers yet. They're like, I got to make the move right now. Can you find me a house? Let's go. You might be seeing some of them here and there, but I think you're seeing the buyers who are saying, I kind of want to get a little bit of a jump on the year. So we're thinking about it. Can you show us some stuff or maybe tell us a little bit about the area? What would you say about that, Corey?
I'd agree with that. It doesn't feel like this, crazy rush to like, hey, we got to get out, we got to find something now. We saw something we love, let's see it tomorrow. It's more of, hey, let's go into this. Let's get calculated. What's the market doing? How can we structure a good offer? Where can we get a good deal? Um, the last couple clients that I've had, I feel like coming off of COVID years, and I'm kind of getting tired of referencing those years, to be honest, and
Yeah, I know.
personally, and I'm sure a lot of people watching and consumers are too. But In past years, I'll just say, even just in the past 2 or 3 years, you get kind of this like frenzy mentality where it's like, we got to find something like see two homes. They want to write an offer right away. And the buyers I'm working with now are far more calculated. They're really taking their time. There's homes that they absolutely love, and I walk out of there being like, wow, I'd be shocked if they didn't want to make an offer based on the feedback. And they're coming back saying, look, we absolutely love it, but it's just we're missing X, Y, or Z, or this is just not perfect enough. Let's keep looking. And I think that's smart. I don't think you
Yeah.
can ever. I mean, I guess you can be over analytical at times, but I think for the buyers that I'm working with, they're being smart and they're being more calculated than they have in the past.
And one thing I'm going to echo what you just said too. Take your time, be smart about your decision. If your realtor is rushing you or they're telling you, "Oh my God, you got to buy now," Chicken Little, the sky is going to fall. They're probably the wrong person to be working with. I think you do have. There's no big push at this point. Yeah, we got Jerome Powell stepping down in May, and that could affect stuff. But for the most part, I don't see a huge push at the moment. Will we get a little bit more inventory March and April? Yeah, probably. A lot of people are holding pocket listings, but at the same time, time your life. Do not time the market, and don't fall for that all that hype of everyone said, "Oh my God, interest rates are low. You got to buy right now, or else you're going to be so sorry for it." It's just not that. Yes, they're dropping, but we're still in six territory. It's better. And historically wise, everyone's going to always say historically. That's what I always laugh at. It's like historically, it's the lowest it's been in 3 years. I mean, 6% still not fantastic. You know what I mean, Corey?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's all relative. Relative to 13%, it's a phenomenal rate. Relative to 3% or 2.8, it's a higher rate. But again, not to beat a dead horse, time your life. The rates will always change. Passing up on the perfect fit of a home for you and constantly thinking about it and regretting the decision and, oh, we should have made that move back then. That's something that can eat at you and stick with you, and you lose sleep over, and that's the position you don't want to be in. So, if it feels right, all the stars are aligning for you to make that move, and you have some good advisors on your side, then I'd say take the jump. One thing in that I will say, um, this is a strategy I'm using right now with my buyers is don't be hesitant to write the offer, even at the ask price. If the ask price seems a little high for you, but you don't want to miss out on the home, write that offer, get in there, and by doing that, you're not trying to deceive the seller by any means, but you can lock down the property so that you have the choice to fully analyze it, do your inspections. If everything checks out, then great, move forward. If you find some unknown things, or the payment ends up being too high, or it doesn't appraise, which I'm dealing with right now, I have a low appraisal situation going on. Then maybe that's a time to step back and reevaluate what you want to do. But buyers have so many ways to exit a contract, with low commitment, that I want to encourage you to go out and write a ton of offers and just back out of them all. But if one is seeming right, don't be scared to put that pen to paper and make that commitment, and then pursue it in good faith.
And guys, I mean, just to echo that, you're not the only ones doing it, because right now what we are seeing are people that are, we're seeing stuff hit the market, get into contract and fall out of contract and everything too. Um, and you should buy the right house for you. Maybe get into inspections, maybe you get cold feet. Maybe it's going to give you those 2 o'clock in the morning mortgage rate, mortgage payment sweats. I mean, maybe it's just not right for you. You got to make that decision. This is a huge purchase. You know what I mean? This is absolutely huge. It's for, it's not only as an asset, it's a place where you're going to live and everything too. So yeah, make the right choice. And, like I'm echoing exactly what Corey's saying. In fact, Corey should have done this live, and I could have been like hanging out and maybe making a steak or something,
No
but we're
way,
good.
no way. We got to do it together.
All right, Lori. Hey, how are you doing? Hopefully you're enjoying the evening too. I think we're gonna have also good weather for the next couple days, so I'm excited about that. Fred, good evening, my friend. Jason, the man, the myth, the legend, Instagram legend, realtor, Jason Smith out there, guys. If you guys haven't followed his Instagram account, I even myself drool over some of the houses he throws down. And Jason and I are gonna have a little lunch, and maybe a collab could be in the future. The other thing too, and I've been
There
wanting to
you
talk to
go.
Corey about straight up, is I do think that I don't know if you guys know Corey Cars and Coffee. I want to go out and videotape that for you guys, because I think Cars and Coffee would be so fun. So I want to see if Tori and I one of these mornings can go out there with the video crew and video Cars and Coffees for you, Cars and Coffee for you guys, to show you what it's about, because it's a fun event that goes on in the Sacramento area, a couple different places, really cool people, and I'd love to showcase this on the channel for you guys. So that could be coming also.
Mhm.
All right, we got Lori. This one's all you, Corey. I hate the frenzy. This time I visited the area, took my dog to the local park to get the feel, then felt like I learned a lot with no pressure. What do you think, Corey?
I think that's the best way to do it is, go in there, drive by some listings that kind of caught your eye, maybe catch some open houses. If you want to jump into some that don't have open houses, let us know. We'll get you in there. Go, pretend that you live there. Do your errands there. If you need to go grocery shopping, I mean, obviously, if you live across the country or you live hours away, that might not be conducive. But pretend that if you live locally and you want to go explore the city, 30 minutes away, I would say go pretend that you live there. Do your grocery shopping there. Run your errands there. You know, if you really want to, rent an Airbnb there, or stay in the hotel locally and just get what that feel is, and see if it's a good fit for you. I think doing the normal things that you do day to day in the areas that you're looking at is one of the absolute best things you could do to see if it's a good fit.
Oh, 100%. I would also say go shopping, go to Target, go to one of my favorite places that you guys all know, Costco. Vibe out the communities, vibe out the people. See if they are your people. You know what I mean? Just go out there and just check it out. I can't guarantee you everyone's gonna be nice in the parking lots now and again. Folsom Costco is brutal, but I will tell you that like I get a good vibe. It's different. I kid you not. Different Costco's, different vibe, different people, different feel, and everything too. And if you are thinking that Sacramento is a one size fits all, it's not the case at all. I mean, it's completely different in different areas and everything too, and you got to find that right spot. 100%. All right,
Yep, absolutely.
Eric. Hey, I made it here again on time. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I gotta give you a little shameless plug here. And we always talk about it. West Roseville, one of my favorite spots, growing, expanding, new Costco. JMC's dropping some amazing homes out there as well too. We put in a couple people in some JMC homes. Loving the builder, loving the West Roseville area. If you guys are looking for a spot that in the future is going to have water parks, hopefully a hospital, it'd be great. That whole thing. But other than that, I mean, the West Roseville area. What do you think, Corey, about that area? It's awesome. I love that area. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, it's growing so fast, and they're like creating their own like community identity. And as it grows, it's like, the people who moved there a couple years ago when it was first getting started are now kind of the living legends of the area, and have a lot of history in that area, even though it's a short-lived history. But I think they're kind of creating their own, um, I hate the word vibe because I feel like it's so overused and cliche, but that's really kind of what it is. It's just it's its own um, entity in Sacramento area, and it's a really unique lifestyle there, and I think it's a great fit for a lot of people.
I've been trying to change that vibe word too, and it's hard. You go energy, and then you go more like this. Yeah, it's just a feeling you get in the certain areas. Yeah. All right, Fred says we're looking forward to checking
Yeah.
out more homes in the Sacramento region in the next couple months. Fred, honestly, the difference between the houses and the areas and the neighborhoods. It's just fun. I mean, part of the things I love about showing homes and showing areas is that seeing people's expressions, because it is different. There, some areas, communities don't have sidewalks. Some do. Some you might see a horse cruising around. You know what I mean? Like there are kids playing sometimes. There are people like running. It's just, I don't know. It's just a fun area. Some have tons of trees. Some are just like new developing, and they're gonna have trees in a few years. So I don't know. I love the whole Sacramento area, and it's gonna be fun. More stuff, more communities, more growth. I love the Sacramento area. What do you think about that as far as our region, as far as the diversity of communities and areas?
I mean, it's hard to beat, really. I've lived in California my whole life, up and down in different areas. Southern California, Northern California have a lot of, um, through marriage, a lot of historical sense, and been to the Bay Area a lot. I've stayed there for a huge amount of my life, even though I've never lived there because my in-laws are there. So we're constantly staying, 3, 4 days at their house every couple months. So I've gotten to really see it all, and I don't think you can get the amount of diversity without the same aspect of being able to go to the Costco's, the Targets, the city life, plus the outdoor side and everything you can do in the area. It's hard to beat, man. It really is. You can grow up by the beach, but then you got urban stuff right behind it, like I did in Los Angeles. But there's nothing like this area, and you can really get whatever experience you want here. You just need the right people to kind of show you where those pockets are, and then it'll give you a much better perspective on what you can get. Because
Oh
they're
yeah.
easy to overlook. I think that's kind of what I'm trying to say is that if you don't think you can have the lifestyle you want in this area, you should talk to one of us or somebody who's lived here and knows the area very well. And I guarantee you, we can show you that you can have what you want here.
Yeah. I mean, and I think people, when they start exploring, they realize that. At times, you guys might just think Sacramento is a spot you stop at for in and out before you go up to Tahoe, and then you discover it, and you're like, "Whoa, okay, that was me. That was straight up me. I did not realize Sacramento was what it was." And then I
Same.
explored it, and then I was like, "Man, should have come here a whole lot sooner." All right, we got Devin, and Devin is a fellow Run DMC fan. So we're going to talk a little about that. And I wasn't blowing smoke, Devin. King of rock. There is none. Okay, let's go on. Had to think of a different type of question tonight. A little fun one. In your opinion, do most realtors in the Sac area get along, or is it Real Realtors of Sacramento, reality TV show situation? No. I think that for the most part, there's so many realtors that it's kind of almost like, I mean, now and again, you get into transactions where a realtor might rub you the wrong way. I think we all have the same pet peeves. For me, and I know Corey does the same. It's like Corey's one of those guys where, like, if for some reason, like, I call him and it goes to voicemail, I'm calling the police next because it just never does that. So, him and I are on the same page as far as this stuff goes. Like, if you're in this business, you or someone on your team needs to be able to pick up the phone and answer the questions right away. And for me, responsiveness is like one of the key things. And I think a lot of realtors, for me, my pet peeve is like if someone has a house for sale and I'm saying, "Hey, I have some interest in seeing it," or like, "I want to put an offer in. Can we have a second to talk?" And they get back to me in like 5 days, like that's a pet peeve. And I think there's a lot of people, because the barrier to entry to real estate is so low, that probably shouldn't be in real estate. And they're a little bit more about the check. But at the same time, I know the way I am, and maybe it's just because I'm a little older. Like, I'm more about teaching people and like giving people the benefit of the doubt in this business. Everyone's trying to make a living. Everyone's trying to feed their families. Everyone's trying to, you know, go in a certain positive direction. Some need guidance, I think definitely do. But I think for me, I don't think there's any realtors right now that I look at and I go, "Ugh, I'm going to get them." There's just, you have too much focus on the transactions you're on right now. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd agree. I would say 99% of my relationships with other realtors is totally positive. Um, there's a few that I've had just bad situations with, and that really comes down to things that I feel like weren't handled appropriately, and felt deceiving to me, or felt like they just didn't communicate well enough so that it came off deceiving to me. Like I felt like they kind of did me wrong or did me dirty in a way. But I've been in that position before too with other agents where they're like, "Oh man, this is you didn't accept our offer, and we were gonna increase the offer or whatnot." And some of that is it's purely about the communication factor. If you're able to communicate and work with a lot of different people, you'll have great relationships. I don't have any hesitation walking into any realtor meeting, networking event, course, class, whatever it may be, and feeling confident that I'm going to have great relationships throughout the entire thing. I think there's always going to be, like you said, there's so many agents out there. There's always going to be the people that are like, oh man, they just rubbed me the wrong way, or I had a bad transaction with them, and so you feel like the relationship isn't 100% solid. But there's a healthy competitiveness, but overall, I feel like it's a very wholesome group, and I don't think I could say that about other locations in California. It's
Yeah.
we're all competing, but more often than not, we're all working towards a similar goal of getting the deal done for clients who want to get the deal done. And if they don't, then our job is to protect them and to make that exit as smooth and as as seamless as possible for all parties.
Yeah. Well, and also, if you go in the transaction, you should be kind of all going in the same direction. Here's a big. I'll give you a couple myths about real estate. That one is you see someone who's like, "I'm a listing agent," right? They also are a buyer's agent. Almost everyone that I know does works with buyers and works with sellers. So you're going to realize at some certain time, if you pissed off someone, you're going to run into them on the other side of a deal. And, it's just so short sighted, right? It's like, you just realize that along the road, you might meet them again. And it's just like, if you're professional, if you treat everything respectfully and you stand your ground and you don't be walked all over, but at the same time, like, you're probably going to run into that person along the road and everything too. We all do. I mean, I've been in multiple transactions with different people. In fact, it's hilarious. Sometimes I'll go on my phone to like ask an agent about a house, and I'll send the message and I'll realize there's a big text chain of maybe 2 years ago when I was doing the same thing and we were in a transaction. So we all, it's not really smart for a realtor to kind of burn bridges with somebody because you'll be on the other side of a transaction before you know it. And, at that point in time, it's not going to be a smart move. The other thing too that I always laugh about, and this is one of the things that
Right.
always cracks me up, $1 million listing when they go out to lunch and they're both sitting there and they're talking about negotiating at the lunch table, and then one steps around the corner and calls his client and they make the deal. That will never happen. That does not ever happen ever. And on $1 million listing, also,
No.
majority of the people that these open
No.
houses bring in, all those are actors. In fact, a lot of them have even posted it. It just doesn't work that way. But, not getting too far into a tangent, for the most part, if you play nice, you're going to have a better reputation in this market. All right.
Yeah, and I think just realizing that we're all humans in this. We're all trying to make this work, and you treat people how you want to be treated. That was drilled into me from a young age. And so you treat everybody with respect, you give everybody the kindness and grace that they deserve. Things are
Yeah.
gonna go haywire. If you get upset at every little thing that goes haywire and take it out on somebody personally, gosh, you're gonna burn more bridges than you're gonna make, and it's just gonna turn things in a really negative way for you. So
Yeah.
anyway.
And you guys have seen me on the show. I mean, what you see is kind of what you get. I'm kind of a happy person, positive. You know, let's all get along and let's just make it right for the clients and make sure that your experience, because it's about you guys, right? It's not about Corey and myself or any other realtor. We're like, how can I say it? Like we're very much enjoying the ride. Like we're very much enjoying being part of your journey, but it's about you guys, right? And I think when realtors lose sight of that, it gets a little like, confusing for them at times, that they might think they're more of a player in this than they are. We're trying to, for me, any client that I put into a house, any client that I sell their house with, or any client that I work with, it's their journey. It's not mine. I'm just lucky enough they picked me to be along for the ride, like this is huge
Exactly.
for them. I mean, this is where their memories are going to be made, or the memories were made and they're selling it. I mean, I'm very grateful to be a part of that. And, I never lose sight of that. And I know Corey doesn't either.
Yep, I
All
agree.
right. What is his Instagram? Jason, put your Instagram, man. We got to get you some. And he is in the Sacramento area. There's a bunch of people who do Instagram, but like Jason's stuff is like, in my humble opinion, he's the man. He's the man. I appreciate what he does.
Yeah, great
All right.
stuff.
And I didn't like the odor by San Joaquin River. Yeah. Look, it's Corey, cars and coffee. I'm thinking I'd do a t-shirt for him. We can brand this thing, Corey. What do you think?
Yeah,
All right.
it's so I have another sponsorship too that we're going to be putting we've already put together. We just got to finalize some stuff with The hobby condos that, it's a development that we're doing, industrial warehouse development. I'll do a shameless plug here if you don't mind. But yeah, we have another sponsorship coming in with 916 Cars and Coffee, 916 CNC. It's kind of another exotic level of Cars and Coffee. They don't host shows every week, but they host very particular shows throughout the year. And it's the cream of the crop, very high end stuff. If you want you want to see all the crazy, $500,000 cars all piled into a parking lot together. We have a sponsorship that we're putting together with them right now too. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming.
All right, I can't wait. We gotta film it. We gotta film it. All right, what do you think about
Yeah.
buying the model home? Um, I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. Because okay, so how do communities kind of work? Is that usually in a market that's normal, right? More or less like 75% of the market, unless we're in a bad situation. But you know, um, a community will sell a home, release a phase of maybe 3 homes, and then the next one they release maybe will be $3,000 to $5,000 more, and the next one $3,000 to $5,000 more, and the next release, and so on and so on and so on. So what you notice is at the end of a phase, the model homes not only are going to be priced more because of all the upgrades, but they're also going to be usually on the tippy toppy top of the spectrum of like what you're buying it for normally, right? Sometimes they're willing to wheel and deal and everything too. The other thing too is I've had a couple of clients die for these model homes, and guess what? They got into appraisal situations because the models were updated so much. Crazy models were upgrade that they got into appraisal situation where it appraised like what was it, and it just didn't work for them as far as the loan goes. So those are the things I would say. You got to just analyze it. And here's a trick also for you guys too, and you could definitely find this online. If you look at a community, ChatGPT can help you with this stuff. Go to, like, let's say you're looking at a certain community, say, what did this model first start selling for when it was first released? And you could kind of see the gradual like price, how it went from what to what. But that's my big 2 cents on it. I just, the model is usually the last to go. And the other thing too about the model home, and this is something that a lot of people don't factor in, is these model homes, how many people have actually walked through those homes? How many people have like used the bathroom? How many people have kind of beat up the house during the course of what, maybe like 2 years? I mean, that's a lot of traffic that went through. And a lot of times the builder, it's already encroaching on their like 10-year structural. They're not going to do a fit and finish, and they sell it as is. So it's not really my thing. But again, if you can get a deal and you look back and you go like Lennar or something, and you look back and say, hey, they're selling the model home for like $700,000. And when they first started selling this community, they were selling around $700,000. So like, it's a deal. Price will tell you all. So just look at how the price was when they first started selling and what that gradual increase looked like. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I think that's great advice. I actually working with a client now, looking at some new construction in Rancho Marietta, and this is one of those unique situations where a smaller builder started the development. They built like a quarter of it, and then they had to exit. They stopped their building. They sold off to a larger builder, and the model homes that they had are still on the market, and the prices have not dropped for 6.5 months. They have sunk so much money into making this model home absolutely perfect that they won't take a loss on it, so they'll let it sit on the market. But a comparative home right down the street in a better location, better lot, not as nice of finishes, but overall more desirable, is selling for 200 grand less. And I always tell my clients, you should purchase on things you cannot change: location, lot, home layout. You can change layout, but like how it's, when I say layout, like it's elevation and positioning on the lot. If the house is all cockeyed on the lot and weird, you have this weird triangular shaped backyard and you don't like that, that's going to hurt resale value in the future versus the home next door that has, perfectly shaped lot, has a big backyard, all those things. So buy on the things you cannot change. If you don't like the flooring, you don't like the ceiling fans, the light fixtures, whatever that is, live with that for a little bit. As once you purchase, let the transaction settle, save up, or if you have the money right then and there, go change those things. You can change anything you want inside the house fairly easily or with some money. So, make those some goals for you, but buy on the things you can't change about the property.
100% with you on that. All right, we got Lori says you could use it's giving neuro. I like it. Okay, no more hype. We'll say it's giving certain feels. I like that. That could work. All right,
That's
Ben, the
useful. I'm
man, the
gonna
myth.
keep that one.
I gotta write that. We gotta coin it. Lori, you gotta coin that. All right, so Ben, the man, the myth, the legend, my favorite salesperson at Meritage. Sorry, other Meritage people, but Ben is so good. I mean, he's letting me video all the communities too, and no one else has let me do so. Ben's the man. Sacramento's phenomenal. It's 5 towns in one. El Dorado versus Carmichael versus Arden versus Roseville. They're completely different worlds. You're totally right. I mean, you got areas like the Pocket, and then if you got further, you got areas like Lincoln, and you got like the outskirts, like yeah. It's just a fun place to also explore. What I've been noticing, a lot of people who've moved into the Sacramento area, and we talked to a really nice lady who actually moved in, and she's like, "Oh, I went to Apple Hill. Oh, I went here. I went there," and she's been exploring it, like the Pocket and everything too. I think it's fun. I think you explore as much before you move in, but after you move into your home, keep going. There's so much stuff to do, guys. There's like what Lake Natoma as well too. There's Folsom Lake. There's American River, Sacramento River. There's all that stuff on the way to Tahoe as well too. I don't know. We live in a beautiful, beautiful area, and I know people are always like bashing on California, but man, it's amazing. It's California, the scenery, the weather. Like give me a break. I mean, I'm not a humidity guy, so like California is pretty amazing. Don't you think, Corey?
And it's insane. Yeah. Yeah, and to expand on that, those are all kind of suburban locations just outside of more of the metro downtown Sacramento. And that I would expand on that by saying, we're kind of a tri-county area with Placer County and El Dorado County. You want to get some more of that places that are giving you farm vibes or giving you more of that outdoor feel, you can get that, 20-30 minutes away from the other cities that are listed here: El Dorado, Carmichael, Arden, Roseville. You go 20 to 30 minutes in the right direction, and you're going to be, excuse me, you're going to be in those areas where you can get 5 acre, 10 acre, 40 acre properties. You can get something on an acre. You can get a 2 bedroom, 1,000 square foot property on 10 acres. You can get, 9,000 square feet on 5 acres. Like you can really get anything that you want here. And Mark and I have both done all those kind of transactions in all those different areas. And I think one of my favorite things about this career path that we've been on is that I get to see all of these different locations. And there's not a day that goes by that I'm not blown away of, oh my gosh, you can even get this here. And that's every day for me. So for somebody new looking in the area, I really encourage you to really set your parameters of what you want, and then talk to somebody like Mark or I so we can get you out there and show you what this area really has to offer.
All right. We got Fred. My wife already is working with Mark, more specifically Robin, to help us find a home, Sacramento area. Thanks for showing us around over MLK weekend. Hey, we're here for you also. And Robin is a rock star. She's actually the latest addition to our team. Her and her husband build custom luxury homes. She is like she should have been an interior designer as well too. She's got such a good eye for stuff too, attention to detail. I mean, she's amazing. So you know, you're in good hands, and we can't wait to show you more stuff as well too. This area, and I think we just scratched the surface with you as
Exciting.
well too. All right. I wonder how sales are starting in Placer One. There was a map online showing how wind flow comes from landfill and pushes all smell right into the area. So I wonder if people will research first. Guys, okay, here's the thing, and I'll tell you straight up, right? Research, do your diligence, right? Um, Look at greatschools.org, look at Megan's Law website, check out crime maps, do all that stuff as well too. The other thing too, and this is a huge one too, school boundaries, they change, right? And in West Roseville, I've seen it happen. In other areas, I've seen happen as well too. So keep on top of like what's developing, what's growing, what's building in the area as well too. But yeah, I would definitely do my due diligence on any spot. Placer One's interesting. I've heard rumors it's a little still overpriced. It's on PG&E. But again, I would say, do the Pepsi challenge. Go to some of these spots for yourself and figure it out. I wouldn't be so enamored by some of these home tours as well too. I would just say that's my first stage. If it looks decent enough, I'll go out there and take a look at it. But I know a lot of realtors are going turbo on Placer One. They're like, go, 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 go. Myself, I like Liberty at Lincoln a little bit better just because you get a clubhouse and it's one of the first communities like that. But again, check all this stuff out. Everyone's going to have a different opinion on what they like, the area, what amenities they're looking for. They like hiking, biking, close to stores. And guys, we've got it all here in the Sacramento metro, various areas, and
Mhm.
new homes are sprouting up everywhere. Rancho, Folsom, West Sacramento, the Vineyard area, Meritage is building out there. Then you got the outskirts like the Galt area, West Roseville. What do you got? You got some in Antelope. You got one builder in Fair Oaks. You got stuff in Lincoln. You got stuff everywhere, guys. We got so much stuff for you. And then we haven't even started to hit the surface of the active community. So it's great. What do you think about that?
I mean, I would agree. I always jokingly say, usually, if I go into a house, and if any of my clients are watching this, they'll probably they can back me up on this. Is we'll go into a house and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I thought this kitchen was half this size," or "I thought it was double this size." And I always joke around that, and I don't want to talk poorly on my photographers because they do a killer job. They're fulfilling their role. But I often say, more in a joking way, that photographers are some of the most deceiving people in real estate because they are so dang good at what they do that they can make a home look, or a room look far bigger or far smaller, or change the dynamic of it. But I've seen, I would kind of go even further and say some of these home tours make the homes look so phenomenal, and then you arrive to the neighborhood and you completely hate the neighborhood, or not a fit for you, or the location or the back views of the backyard, the way that it's set up. The people doing the home tours online, they're very helpful. They bring a lot of attention to the homes, but you got to get out there and see them for yourself because there could be one or two things that just make it a complete deal breaker. So with that saying, I would have completely agree with you, Mark, that you got to get out there and see them in person before kind of falling in love with something. Because Instagram and the media world that we're living in can make an ugly duckling look like a swan very easily,
Well,
and
I
vice
think the
versa.
other Oh, no, 100%. But I think the also thing, especially with the new homes too, and it's something I've stopped doing in my videos as far as like pricing and everything too. Guys, pricing changes. Pricing changes on release. Interest rates change as well too. So for me, as far as like promotions of new homes, I mean, those change, week to week, month to month. Prices increase almost every single new release. So just make sure that if you're watching something, before you come on up here and you think about buying something, just understand that prices increase normally on every single release. And then also, sometimes it's like an August promotion or a February promotion, and then it goes away. You just got to really be smart about some of these videos that you're watching and just understand a lot of them clickbaity. A lot of them will tell you prices that are like outdated and they justify that they did them a while ago. I was doing some of those videos back in the day too, but like for me, I'm just going to show you the areas and everything too, and show you the houses. And as far as promotions and prices, all you have to do is give me a call. You can do it anonymous. Mark, I want the price of so, and I'm fine with giving you the price. I don't really mind, but I feel a lot better if I'm giving you legitimate pricing and legitimate incentives as opposed to BSing you just so I can get a call. So hopefully you guys enjoy the tours a little bit better that way. And we got Jason. All right, so Jason is rolling. That's his Instagram account, Lori. He is so good. He is kind of the goat of Instagram. I'll call you that, Jason. And because I called you that, you're buying lunch. All right. Something interesting. Builders will often mark some homes as sold on the development maps when they're in fact not. Just to give false sense of demand. I know of this in several locally. Guys, here's what I will tell you. Don't be afraid to review or to shout out loud if you're getting shoddy treatment or if you're seeing something that's shady from anything. Just, like, what you see is going to help other people. That's kind of why I like doing the show so people can throw out their opinions. So if I go like, this area is great and you guys are, no, it's not. This is the type of chatter we kind of need. This is kind of like legitimizes certain things people are saying and not. And I love the live questions. I love the live comments as well too, because they're just giving you a little bit more food for thought. And this is, these comments and these questions are coming from people who are locally in Sacramento or thinking about moving here. So understand that,
Hmm.
yeah, I would speak up if I saw something that wasn't right and everything too. And hopefully you don't see too much because that's just not good business. I don't know. Some people sleep at night, but if you see something that's wrong, if you see something that doesn't make sense, or if you say something that's just plain like, wow, I got to let some people know about it, don't be lazy about it. Get out there and just, voice your concerns. All right, Ryan,
And I
excited to
would,
check out
it,
Sac. No, go for it.
oh yeah, I would put a little bit of caveat on that one too, because I've been in situations where my clients put a deposit down on a new home, and with new homes, the way a builder cannot sell you a home that is just framing. They cannot complete a sales contract, a full-fledged sales contract while the home is being built. But a buyer can go in, put a deposit down, and reserve that one. They'll label it as shown, or sorry, sold. They'll label it as sold. We can't show this one. We already have a contract on it with a deposit sitting in escrow. But that doesn't mean that that buyer doesn't have legitimate ways to back out of that contract, and that may change things with the status of that property. So, that's a little caveat to that. I would hope that they're not showing them as sold just to drive up demand. Does it happen? Like I said, I hope not. But those things could be labeled as sold, and then the buyer says, "Hey, we didn't qualify for financing, or something changed in my life. I had to take what I was going to put as my down payment to into something else. Take care of a family member, or whatever it may be." And so they end up backing out for some reason, and that property then comes available again. So I hope that's not the case, that it's deceiving, but you never know.
Agreed, 100%. All right, we got Ryan who's excited to check out Sacramento this weekend from Washington State. Given current inventory levels and migration trends, do you expect home prices to appreciate, level off, or decline over the next 2 or 3 years? I don't know. I mean, I'd probably say they're probably going to appreciate, but I don't know honestly how much. That's a hard one, right? And I think it's all based on like seller pricing. That's number one, and also like rates. I think if we get into the fives and we're solidly in the fives, I think our demand will push up a little bit, and I think that everything will start going and appreciate a little bit more. But if we're stuck in Sixville for a while, I think it'll be like this. It'll be okay. I mean, you'll see probably just a little bit, like 1% or something like this, but it won't be absolutely crazy. I think the years of crazy appreciation are kind of gone, unless some black swan event happens and all of a sudden, we're at war or something. And for some reason, the government decides to buy bonds and our rates drop drastically again. And people, I mean, if they drop again, people are going to be like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. People are going to be diving into this market. So I think that, but I think even like last year, I consider last year not a great year for real estate. It wasn't bad. I mean, but it
Mhm.
wasn't a great year for real estate. And I think we saw just gradual appreciation. I think it was like 1% or something like that. It wasn't amazingly, it was like, it was pretty much flatlined, but I do think that we'll probably see gradual. I don't think it's going to be nuts, but I think it's going to be based on interest rates and seller pricing, because those seller pricing killed the market last year. I don't care what anyone says about rates, about whatever. It was a seller pricing. And I blame a lot of that on realtors, not the good ones that I like, but I think, you got to be real with your clients at times and just not, do the old like realtor shuffle where you're like, yes, I can sell your house for that. Let's get it on the market. And then you tell them to reduce it. And you got a lot of 2.75ers too, who are like, if I sell my house, it's going to be for this. And if I don't get this for my house, then I'm going to stay. I got a 2.75 and I'm basically making money. I'm making money staying in this house. So I don't know.
Right.
That's
Right.
kind of what I think. What do you think as far as appreciation for the next 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I would, California on average, if you look historically, and that, that's always you're piling up so much data of, crazy hikes of value and crazy dips. But on average, California goes from like 3 to 5%, 4 to 6% appreciation per year. But something I would keep in mind is that's such a nominal amount. If you calculate, take the purchase price or a current, Zillow estimate of a value of a home and calculate what 4% is. That is a negotiable amount of money. that's most of the times with the values in this area, you're talking 10,000 to $50,000 worth of value increase. And if somebody's coming in with a cash offer, no contingencies, we'll buy it as is, and they offer 50 grand less, that seller may take that, and that might, kind of show that, oh, values aren't going up, but it's a negotiable amount of money. So it's such a short time in the world of real estate. 2 to 3 years is such a short time frame to judge where values are going to go, that those values, even if they increase or slightly decrease, are a negotiable amount of money with a good agent on your side, and you get the good data on the home, the condition, inspection reports, all of that stuff. That is something you can negotiate the price on. And so, if you're planning to buy and exit in 3 years, hoping to make 200 grand, I would probably say that's not going to be the case. But if you're hoping to stack some equity away, um, have something that you're happy with for the next 2 to 3 years, and kind of bank that money in so you can grow into the next property, I don't think you can really go wrong right now. I don't think you're going to be in a place of massive appreciation or massive depreciation. I think you're going to be in a good place where you're um, setting yourself up perfectly for that next move, if that's what your plan is.
Okay, I like that. I would also say one thing too. I'd go toe to toe with anyone else versus Sacramento in the Sacramento area. I think our area is, like as far as growth development, we were the number one search place by people wanting to move into in Redfin last year. You know what I mean? Early in the year and everything too. So for me, I look at us. I think look at the growth. I look at all the stuff coming to the Sacramento area. I look at location. I look at California lifestyle, affordability comparatively towards other areas in California. I think we're close to the snow, close to Napa, close enough to everything. And I don't think a lot of us even leave the Sacramento area because we have enough stuff to do here. So as far as like going toe to toe with other spots like your Houston's, your like Vegas's, I think Sacramento is amazing. I think Sacramento has, I mean, we're on a growth spurt. Well, I mean, we were on a growth spurt. I think we'll be on one again. I think our area, if you look at all the new homes being built and you drive through these communities, majority of these houses are being lived in. People have already moved in. They're going to schools. They're living their lives. There's not empty streets and empty this like there you probably find in like Houston and like other spots in Vegas. Like we're a real thriving area. People really love the Sacramento area. We get a lot of people from the Bay, a lot of people from Los Angeles, but I work with people all over the country that are moving in. Even international people are coming into the area. So for me, yeah, last year wasn't fantastic for the Sacramento area, but comparatively towards other areas like Houston, Las Vegas, and other spots, man, we smoked them. So for me, I love our area. And if I was going to put money in any area, like it was a big old table, I'd be like right there in Sacramento. I mean, we're still like, you think about how many projects are happening in Sacramento that are still going. They haven't stopped. They haven't slowed down. They haven't put the
Right.
kibosh on them. You know what I mean? You think about all the hospitals that are being built right now too. UC Davis extension that's being pretty much completed in Folsom Ranch. Then you got the new Kaiser that's coming in the campus downtown. Dignity's going, Elk Grove had happened. Now it's going to be another one in Folsom. The growth that we're seeing in Sacramento, you're not going to see this in other areas, guys. Sacramento is pretty much like like it's rare, so enjoy it. And for me, yeah, I'm living here. I love the area here first and foremost, but I'm also here because I see good things ahead for the Sacramento area, and I just don't see it for too many other spots, so that's why I'm here. All right.
100%. I'd agree with
S-
that.
all right, we got Lori who says, oh, the model would be more expensive. Good question. Expensive. Thanks, Lori, appreciate it. All right, we got video guy Matt. I'm gonna read this, but I'll do a little censoring. For car loaners are called fart boxes. I think model homes are the same. Just imagine. Oh man, you're killing me, video guy Matt. Video guy Matt always when he's at kind of a rough day, he comes in here. I like Matt. He's funny. All right. Sacramento's population changed in recent years has been primary from international migration. Population decline from locals. International migration probably dead for 3 years. So I'm bearish. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing for me. I think a lot of the migration we get still is from the Bay. We get a lot from Los Angeles. We get a lot of people who are saying to themselves, like, we don't want to leave California because we like the weather here. Maybe we don't like the taxes, but we like the weather and we like the California lifestyle here. but we don't want to pay those Bay Area prices. We don't want to pay Los Angeles prices. We want to go somewhere that's nice, somewhere that's close to stuff like Tahoe, and we still get that vibe of California. I think we get a lot of those people coming in here. I get a lot of people moving in, people moving back from Texas, moving back from Florida, back from Arizona, who made a mistake by leaving Cali and they're coming back. And a lot of people, you give me someone from the Bay Area that just sold their $2 million 900 to 1,000 square foot condo, and they're coming here. And I kid, it is like a kid in a candy store. You can get amazing stuff here at like a fraction of the price. So I still think we're going to draw people because of that as well too. What do you think, Corey?
Oh, I 100% agree. I mean, I've seen some international migration here, but I would still say majority of the clients that I'm working with, I can really only speak, definitively from the people in my business, and they're either people who already live in this area, which I would say people who already live in this area, 50% of them came from somewhere else at some time. Um, but it's either that or they're moving up from Los Angeles, Orange County. I'm getting quite a few of those. I'm getting quite a few from the Bay Area, and then also, the uh, people still call it Bay Area, but more um, like Walnut Creek, the extensions of the Bay Area, East Bay. We're getting a lot of those. I think we're seeing that area develop and prices increasing so much that they're sitting on so much equity in that area that when they look at Sacramento, that we have seen increases in values here, especially if, you look over, if you're a local here, you grew up in this area, you look at home prices, you probably think it's crazy. But from somebody who moved into that Walnut Creek area or areas around that, East Bay areas that bought when they were cheap and now they're sitting on this kind of gold mine of equity. They look at Sacramento area as kind of that next move to gain another big jump in equity and be able to spend some of their cash, but not all of their cash, and get a, a better lifestyle, a better living situation, either a bigger house or a smaller house or a nicer house. They're able to accomplish that goal a lot easier using that equity that we're getting. And I think that same with Orange County, Los Angeles area. I think they're San Diego area. I think a lot of those people are realizing that they want to get out of some of that hustle and bustle, a little bit of the overbuilt kind of urban environment that it's become. It wasn't always like that. And this is kind of their escape place. If they want to stay West Coast, they want to stay California, um, they have family, they have ties here, they want to be an hour flight away from those locations or an hour drive away, then this is just a hub for all of California.
I totally agree with you. Also, the other thing too that's huge is like I remember when I was living in the Bay, it was always a pain in the butt to drive somewhere because I had to deal with parking. I had to deal with finding a
Hmm.
parking space. I had to deal with like traffic and everything too. One of the things I love about Sacramento is get off this live if my wife's like, "Hey, you gotta go to the store to pick up something." It's fine. Got my garage, get my car out, drive wherever I need to drive. There won't be that many cars on the road. Park wherever I want to park to. There won't be that insane feeling like I just jumped on a treadmill going 100 miles an hour. The lifestyle here is
Yeah.
relaxed. It's chill. It's like you can enjoy it, your family time and everything too. So, guys, water's great. Jump on in. All right. We got smooth operator here. My favorite spot is Loomis, but PG&E ruins it, leaving Roseville as a winner, possibly Antelope as a close second. Oh, all right, smooth operator. Loomis is, yeah, PG&E is such a bear. I mean, guys, also kind of before you come out here, do a little research on like PG&E versus SMUD versus Roseville Electric, or feel free to call Corey or myself. Find out also about home insurance. Also, find out about areas like Loomis. A lot of Loomis is on septic. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Pros and cons and everything too. I mean, there's just some areas you definitely need to, look at and just examine and figure out what you're getting yourself into. Loomis is beautiful though. I gotta say, I mean, really, really nice spot. Grant Bay is nice. But yeah, I mean, Roseville, maybe on the other side, Folsom's a good one too. I mean, there's so many good ones. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I would agree. I know PG&E is just kind of, that and insurance. If you're not in fire territory, but you're still in fire insurance territory, I should say, but you're still within PG&E range, that is something that is, you definitely have to consider. I would say if you're looking at homes and they have solar already, make sure you know and understand the type of solar contract that they have, if it's owned, if it's leased, if it's a what's called a PPA, a power purchase agreement, and understand what you have, because you may not own the equipment on your home, you may be renting it, it may be owned by another entity, and then look at how much is owed on those systems, whether it's any of those owned, leased, or a power purchase agreement, because there's oftentimes good and bad exit strategies out of those to either buy them out or own the equipment yourself. So look at those things, look at the size of the equipment, ask for the PG&E bills. There's so many people that I work with that um, are clients that I work with that are they're catching on to this, and I encourage them to request, and I do this with other agents. I request the past 3 months of PG&E statements if they're in a higher energy costs area. We want to see what those are, see if what they're telling us the energy and the solar is producing is accurate. They may say in the listing, huge solar system, PG&E bills pretty much diminished. It almost pays for everything, and then you look at the bills and it's not, and then you have to understand there's a true up there. So you know this can be really overwhelming to a new buyer just looking at who's your energy provider. But if you have a good professional on your side that'll be able to break that down easily for you, get all the documents you need, it makes it a much simpler process. I would say off the get go though, don't let that be the deal breaker for you until you analyze all those things. Don't let that,
Well,
if you find the perfect property in that area, do your due diligence, check those things out, because you might be surprised at what you find. It's not always horrible bad stuff.
I love it. I love it. I agree with that. All right, we got Antelope, aka SMUD area. Antelope
Hmm.
goes so under the radar. I like Antelope. I
It
think
does.
Antelope,
It's changing big time.
yeah, Antelope, the whole West Roseville area. Yeah, yeah. Antelope's a nice one. And in SMUD, cannot beat that. All right, we got Lori says, wait a minute. It's Jason Smith underscore real estate, the Instagram of Corey. I'm confused. No. Okay. So Corey's got his own
No.
Instagram account. Corey, if you want to put it in the comments where your Instagram is, but that's Jason. And Jason's, he's a friend who does a lot of Instagram home tours in Sacramento, and his tours are just so good. And so if you guys are looking for some amazing house in Sacramento, Jason definitely does some good stuff. And maybe I'll have him on the show one day as well too. All right.
I don't think I
Why do
can add the
prices
comments, but
Oh, good.
oh, that's
All
good.
right,
Keep going.
Brandon. Why do prices increase? Is it first come discount or a lot of specifics? Oh, I think you're talking about new homes. It's just the way they kind of always kind of been. What you notice, like, okay, for example, the Woodside communities right now, they're selling out like crazy. Aspen and Willow. The main reason is, and Brandon, if I'm off track, just let me know. But I think if you're talking about price increases, that's what you're referring to. What new homes will do is, like, let's say their target for a house is like $600,000, like one floor plan, right? They'll always kind of start a little bit below to bring up momentum. And so their idea is like 600, they'll maybe start like 565 and then start increasing, hit the 600 and then go a little bit over too. And that's usually how they do. And that's kind of why they do price increases, because they start a little low to get the momentum on sales going. And then usually they will go a little over. Now, occasionally you'll find like the rare community that maybe has so much buzz around it that doesn't have to do that. But for the most part, what you see is that's kind of how they do it. And a lot of people who buy new homes, like, let's say you're in the first, like, and this isn't a guarantee. So, you know, but a lot of people who buy like in the first, like, maybe first couple releases, what that'll happen is, like, let's say Corey, we get Corey a house for, like, he buys a Beezer home for $450,000 and it's going to be ready in like 6 months. By the time he gets into his home in 6 months, it could be somewhere around maybe like 475, 480. And so he walked into instant equity. And we see that happen a lot.
Right.
Now, it's not guaranteed, because the market is, of course, there's no guarantee the market will keep going this way or that way. But for the most part, I'd say at least 75 to 80% of the time, like, you see that happen. So, and also check history of builders to see if they cut prices at the very last ones. We know who does, but some other builders have been doing it as well too.
Hmm. Yep.
All right, we got one for you. Rockland has built some condos near Sunrise Boulevard that's been doing for almost 6 months yet. They still haven't sold. Plus, the prices are silly at over 600K for a condo. What's really going on there? Yeah, I know about that community. I don't know. I think the price is too high. I think also if someone's going to get a choice between a condo and a house, because condo HOAs are always brutal. I would prefer a house, and it's $600,000. I'm sure a lot of people are going like, why don't I get a house? What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I would really compare those numbers. The when I say numbers, like wholesome numbers of what work with your lender to know what your estimated payment is going to be, and then what your monthly is going to be. Like I said, gather those utility bills ahead of time. If you can get those bills, add up the HOA, add up some Mello-Roos if that's in there, add up the entirety of the payment so you know exactly what you're going into, and then compare it to a single family home. Keeping in mind, I think the biggest factor with a lot of people are attracted to condos for the lower price point, but keep in mind that lower price point is also going to affect you on resale. So, if you can buy a single family home and you're going to be there for 10 years and you're going to make some updates to it, then your resale value is going to be far higher than it is living in a condo. Um, and even if you make the same updates to a condo, you're not going to get that resale value. So I think it really depends on the situation that you're in, your financial situation, the time frame that you're going to stay in a property. Um, and I would go on a little bit of a tangent here saying most buyers don't analyze or don't put enough weight on the amount of time they plan to be in the property. That plays a huge role in the financial decision of whether this is the property to commit to or not. And I deal with this a lot in the commercial space. Timing is almost everything. The term lease, the term of your ownership really is planning your exit of that property. You're not going to live there forever. You can't take it with you. You're not going to work there forever. You're not going to operate in that space forever. So let's plan for a positive exit at some point. And if that's a concern of yours, then let's wrap that into your decision making process. If it's not a concern of yours, and hey, this condo is right next to, my grandkids, or it's right next to the shopping center I go to every day and I want to walk there, then hey, the timing aspect is far lower on that priority list than the like location maybe. But it's still something to really good to be aware of.
Love it. All right, Jason, time to update your Insta photo. You look like you're updated, fresh springtime version of yourself now. I followed you. Just says, hey, thanks, followed you back. All right. Wendy says hello. And Wendy, I got some possibly good news for you in the future. Now, before we go to Ben, let's do a little commercial break right now for Lacey telling us about this new community in Midtown. It's Beezer. They're building these 3-story homes. Pretty amazing.
Hey everyone, it's Lacey Cahan over at the brand new luxury exclusive community R21 in Midtown, Sacramento by Beezer Homes. This is only 48 homes customizable by you, 2 to 4 bedrooms, 3.5 to 4.5 baths, ranging from 2,000 square foot to over 2,300 square foot. I'm going to go take a couple pictures, but Mark is coming by this week and he's going to take you through these gorgeous homes. Courtside options, did I mention? Anyways, he's going to do a much better job, but we can't wait to see you. Make your appointment now.
All right, those are 3-story homes in Midtown. We're talking imperfect smooth walls, waterfall edge, countertops. This is like Toll Brothers, urban Toll Brothers kind of vibe to it. Really, really beautiful homes. I'm super pumped to go down there and take a look at them. Yeah, now it's gonna be good. And we got Ben. We got Ben here is also, and new homes are a difference between sold and closed. Sold means it's actively in escrow, waiting for the house to be completed. Closed means the escrow is closed. But once it's closed, it's also sold. So that is confusing. Yeah, and guys, if you are looking for a Meritage, man, I'm telling you, Ben is the guy. He would rather turn a sale down as opposed to do anything if you're uncertain about it. He's really really good about that stuff. All right. Wendy says, what do you anticipate how buyer seller activity will look in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, please? I think right now what you're going to probably see is more inventory hitting the market. I think though buyers are waiting for it. And I think you're seeing buyers right now. And I think what Corey was mentioning earlier too is the idea that buyers right now are reaching out and they're getting ready. They're educating themselves. They're figuring out the areas and they're feeling a little antsy. Like, where's this inventory? Where's this inventory? Where's this inventory? Now, we're probably going to see inventory because a lot of realtors have pocket listings. But one of the things that we're going to see that's going to be the deciding factor on if 2026 is exact as 2025, in my humble opinion, is seller pricing. We just need sellers to be a little more, a little realistic about their pricing. House is going to go what for a house is going to go for. But at the same time, like, I think with a lot of people who had 2.75s, they set the bar a little bit like, houses like, $1 million, I'm going to sell mine for 1.5. And we saw a lot of those houses. And I think it annoyed buyers so much that they were like, I'm going to Disneyland. I'm not even dealing with this. I'm out. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I would agree. And then, going back to her question of buyer seller activity in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I always, you can't say definitively what it's going to be. Nobody has a crystal ball, but I will say that after Super Bowl weekend, I always notice a notable tick in activity. I haven't seen it this year as strongly as I've seen it in other years, but I only anticipate the market to have more activity on both sides as we go from now until early June. And that's just based on seasonality data. You can go back, and if you want to see some of this data, let me know. We have tools to pull this trend. The stuff that we reference, we're not just grabbing it out of thin air. We're looking at the data back stuff direct from the MLS, the Department of Real Estate, all these studies that happen in the area. We analyze these things and see the data that is aggregated for it. So historically, seasonality wise, we're going to see more activity on both sides right now. And as we progress until through the spring season into early summer, you're going to see more activity, more inventory coming on the market, and more of that inventory being absorbed by buyers at a higher rate than we've seen for the past since fall of last year.
Totally agree. All right. Do you know how to remove my home from Zillow? I bought the house already, but I don't like it when it's still in Zillow showing price. Although it's sold status already, it should be taken out of Zillow. It's hard because Zillow just grabs that data. I would say the only probably way to do it would be to contact JMC directly because that's who you built it from. And so they could probably throw something like, probably do something about that. But it's hard because Zillow doesn't really, no one really inputs the data into Zillow. Zillow just goes out there, pulls tax records, does whatever it needs to populate. But I'd say the best way to go about it would be hitting GMC directly and seeing what they could do. Because at some point in time, they might have actually put it on the MLS.
Well, and keep in mind, any property that you purchase, it's on tax records, so it's public data. You can go in and remove photos of the home. You can reduce it down to like one main photo, or sometimes even get all of the photos removed, where it will show like a satellite image from Google Maps or something like that. But at the same time, anybody can go on to any county tax website record and pull what the home tax record is, what it sold for, who bought it before, whose name is on the title. That's all public record and public data. So there's only so much you can do to hide that from places like Zillow, especially price. That's a tax. There's no real way to hide that. If you don't want your name on the title, you can put it in a trust. You can put it in an LLC. There's different ways to do that. But other than if you're concerned about pricing data, the way that the government's structured, there's no real way to hide that, unfortunately.
All right. Next one is, when's the best time to negotiate seller credits, and what are your tips to negotiate if a house is in good condition, less than 10 years old? Okay. So first of all, you got to kind of figure out what the seller's pain points are. Like if the seller is about ready to close on their house and you kind of have them a little over a barrel type thing. So one is just identifying what type of sellers they are. If they're sellers who have never reduced the price on their home and you went in and you're like, and to get that house, you had to go in at list price. It's gonna be a little harder of a thing to do, but you see, inspection reports, pest reports, that's a good way to go about it. I would say if you're trying to get a credit, go to someone like Roof Doctors, who's kind of a little bit of an upsell, and they're gonna always do some sort of like, $1,000 and like 2-year warranty. That's a good one to add a little bit more like justification for your credit, even if it's a good house. I'll always find some kind of tile that's gone or something like this. But for me, the best way to go about it is either one, starting at a very, very low, just go super low and try to make that work. And then just understand if you go in low, you're probably not going to get too many seller credits, but you went there so low that it kind of made up for it in a weird way. Or the other way is just to really kind of get buddy with the listing agent and figure out what the seller situation is. And just, down the road, if you want to negotiate and you realize that like, if you don't buy this house, they're going to be in deep, trouble and they won't be able to close their home. Like, it gives you a little bit more leverage. Now, you don't also want to be the bad guy in any type of this relationship, but at the same time, you want to do right by your client. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, that was something I was going to say too. Is I agree with that. Is you can't have it all. There's always some give and take in all of these situations. If you want to try to get the lowest price right off the bat, you come in with a pretty low offer, or borderline on lowballing them, and they accept it. Usually, the listing agent will make this pretty clear to you too. Is that, hey, we're not going to be giving any other credits in addition to this. If this is what it is, doesn't matter what your inspections find. This is kind of what we're going on. We're going to move on at. We're not going to give anything else. If you go in, at an ask price and it's been on the market for a while, my favorite time to ask for credits is either one, right off the bat, and say, hey, we're going to give you your ask price, or maybe even slightly over your ask price, but ask for a credit so that in the end it is below the ask price. Or go in at ask price or slightly below that and do some real heavy inspections. Buyers pay for the inspection, so just budget for that. Instead of putting $600 to $800 towards inspections, budget for $1,500 and really dive deep. You're not trying to nitpick to go for a credit. I wouldn't go in with it with that mindset, but at the same time, I've learned this from very thorough buyers who want to have an abundance of inspections beyond your home inspection, pest inspection. We're doing, mold air sample tests. We're doing sewer scopes. We're doing, all kinds of other. I've done my first electrical inspection where we had a dedicated electrician come out. The home had a lot of upgrades to it, a lot of electrical lighting, spa, jacuzzi, tub, all this kind of stuff added to the home, and they were concerned about the installation of the electrical systems. So we paid extra money to have the electrical verified. Um, do those things and then take those findings and use those to negotiate a credit. Now, some of those things on your inspections are something that is found in almost every single home. I've seen, loose toilets, loose electrical outlets. Those things can be found on even new builds. So you're not going to negotiate on every small little aspect. You want to take the bigger items, especially on a home that's 10 years old. There's most likely going to be some dry rot, or some other larger issues that are going to stand out, and you want to negotiate on those, and make sure you have an agent that can put it into the perspective that the seller's going to understand that if they were in your shoes purchasing this home, they would want these things taken care of too. And that deserves some sort of attention, whether it's monetary or it's a credit or it's a price reduction, something like that. Or if the seller is willing to take care of those things before you close escrow, you got to make sure you present the strong points in the best way possible that the seller's going to see it from your point of view. And then that's what, negotiations are all about, is kind of putting the other party in your seat. And then it's more possible that they'll agree with you. So that's what I would say.
I like it. And also, guys, we also don't want to lose you the house. so, if you love something and everything too, you want to also make sure that you don't want to be fighting for that $2,000 credit Now have the seller say like, forget that. We're done. We're gone. So there is a fine
You know,
line to just make sure you're getting what you want and not, go for it,
yeah,
Corey. What?
and one other point I would make is make sure that your credit request is not something outside of what the seller could say no to and go back on market and reduce it the same amount and get tons of offers at. So I know that's kind of complicated there, but if you're asking for a $20,000 credit and they have three offers at asking and you're asking for $20,000 off, that seller's going to sit back and the agent's going to consult them and they're going to say, well, hey, if we don't give it to them and that buyer backs out, we could reduce just by 5 grand and go back on market and most likely get this done and save you $15,000. So keep in mind that the seller has the ability, not necessarily in that situation to back out of the contract right away, but they have the ability to say no. And if you back out, they can go back on market, reduce it slightly, but less than what your credit ask is, and maybe close a deal with another buyer. So that's something to keep in mind.
You know what I've actually done, and it's actually kind of funny, and like I've tried this before, and it's actually worked in my favor. So like we had this one client who's trying to buy a house, and he wanted a certain amount, certain amount back, and so so I told I did this on kind of on purpose because I knew the agent and I kind of knew his reputation, and everything too. So I talked to the agent. I'm like, look, here's the thing. Let's just close the deal. You put up half, I'll put up half of our commission, and let's just get this done. Because I knew that he was the type of person that would not give up even a penny of his commission to do it. So he told me this straight up. He said, I think I can get my clients to take care of it based on that. I kid you not.
Yes.
It happened about a year ago,
Yes.
but based on like analyzing the agent, he was so like, I'm not giving up 2 grand of my commission. And I'm like, I mean, I'll give up 2 grand of mine. Let's just get this thing done. Everyone will be happy. And we move on our merry ways. Like, no. He's like, I think I get my client to take care of this. Crazy, but true story. All right, let's go on to this. Wait a minute again. Are you calling, I guess, Corey? I thought it was Instagram. He says Jason. Nah, 2 different people. This is Corey. He just put his, this is Corey's Instagram account and everything too. And Jason is a friend of mine who does better Instas at pretty much anyone in the Sacramento area. All right, we got a good question here.
He's great at
All
it.
right. Between Elk Grove and Roseville, if we were to buy a place now, which would be easier to sell in a few years? What do you think?
Ooh, gosh,
I
that's a tough
know.
one. That's a
I
tough
know.
one. Oh,
You want me to lead? You want me to lead on this one?
yeah, go ahead. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and then I
Okay.
have some opinions on it already, but I'll let them form.
Okay, so Roseville and Elk Grove, 2 kind of like almost like doppelganger kind of areas as far as price point, as far as all that stuff goes. Here's where it gets interesting. Are we talking Roseville? Are we talking East Roseville or West Roseville? Big difference
Yeah.
between those. And then in Elk Grove, are we talking the 757, 758, or 624? Big difference again. 624, you can find the farmy houses and everything out there as well too. So there's big. But let's like say like the 2 areas that are super hot right now. Elk Grove 757, all the new home building and everything too. Franklin's, schools, all that stuff too. And then let's talk Roseville as far as like, let's go more East Roseville. So let's talk a little bit more about resale wise. All right. So if you're not buying a new home and you're thinking resale wise, I would say for Elk Grove has that niche of like maybe anything between 550 and 750 is just, if you can get it, you're super lucky. It's just crazy. It's a super competitive market. Now, I'll say for the East Roseville area, because that's what I'll lay it out to. And if you want to, you can change the parameters a little bit. East Roseville, I think the bigger houses in East Roseville are, you're not going to find too much stuff in East Roseville for under like 800. And if it is, it's going to get eaten up pretty quick as well too. So you're looking maybe 850, 950. East Roseville butts up with Granite Bay. And those homes for bigger homes there, I think that's a stronger market for bigger homes. I would say though, Elk Grove though, where their like bread and butter is like the 550s, 650s, 750s. That's Elk Grove. That's like right there. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is in Elk Grove, the larger homes, the resale homes, it's just harder for those to compete with like the Sawyer by the Taylor Morrison and Tim Lewis because they're building some big floor plans that have the open floor plan. And in Roseville, in East Roseville, they do have a lot of homes with the open floor plan. So I'd say if I'm looking at Roseville and I'm looking at like maybe something that I'm buying that's maybe over 850 in East Roseville, I'd say you're going to get it's a pretty good bet. And I'd say in Elk Grove, if you buy something that's maybe between 550 and 750, something like this, you make sure the bedroom count is good and you're in the 757. I think in that price point, that's where I would put it. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, gosh, you took the words right out of my mouth. There's different sectors. Once you know those areas well, there's different segments of each of those areas that, if you're comparing one of the segments, if you're comparing West Roseville to like Central Elk Grove, they may not be comparison even on paper. The homes might not even match up. But but overall, I would say generally those are two very desirable places to live in the Sacramento
Yeah.
area, and I don't think you can make a wrong decision between those two if you're looking at resale value. The buyer that's looking in Roseville may dislike Elk Grove. They may go there and say, "Hey, this is just not for me. I don't like this. I don't want to be here." And vice versa. One might go to Elk Grove and say, "Hey, I don't like it. Love Roseville. Hey, I don't like Roseville. Love Elk Grove." I think the thing to be said from that is you're always going to have buyers that love those areas, and those areas are always going to be a very good place to invest your money in the future because there's already a strong desirability to live in each area, and I don't really think you can go wrong. I would dare to say that they could be equal, but they're too segmented, like Mark had touched on, that you can't compare them equally. You can't just pick an address from each one and compare them apples to apples. There's nuance there. But if you're picking up, equal kind of sized homes, equal kind of lifestyle neighborhoods, I don't think you can really go wrong in a resale value discussion.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. If you guys want more detail on it, let us know. All right. Yes, new community is spot on. Perfect. All right. Jason gets back to you fast too. Jason lives on Instagram. He's really a rock star about that. All right. I'm pretty sure those Rockland condos are in foreclosure. Man, no, that was looking at Jason's Instagram. Yes, those residents at West Oaks condo went back to the bank and they're going to rent them since they can't sell. Yeah, too high of a price point. I mean, that it's just bad move. Those Rockland condos, only two sold. The rest are being turned into apartment rentals now. I'd be sure upset if I bought one of those and now surrounded by all those rentals. Yeah, I wouldn't be too happy either. I mean, yeah, that's not good. I wonder if the two that sold are still have to pay the HOA that covers absolutely nothing. Oh, I know. Guys, I know. All right, Jason, 9 degrees in San Antonio tomorrow. Enjoy the Sacramento chilly weather. I'll tell you something, Jason. I am enjoying the chilly weather. I got my pea coat. I'm gonna be dressed up. I think tomorrow's gonna be like 70 though. I think tomorrow's gonna be one of the
Yeah.
first days of good weather. So I think we got 70-degree weather here in Sacramento. I think it's gonna be sunny and nice. So for me, I don't know. I'm going to be going. Where am I going tomorrow? I'm going to Toll Brothers' new community event in Rockland, where they're going to roll out the red carpets. I think there's going to be a cello, all that stuff too. And then we're shooting down to Beezer to
Amazing.
shoot that community as well too. So fun times, fun times. All right. I know, and just encourage him to be a guest realtor, like you've been asking. I know. I'll do too. All right. I got to log off, but have to end with some fun facts. Anyways, oh man, Matt always hits me. Foreclosures are definitely starting to pick up. Still low historically, but the highest numbers we've seen since COVID. Many purchased from 22, 24 and are underwater and can't sell. Short sales returning. What do you think about that, Corey?
I was gonna say I would agree with that. I have seen more foreclosures, and it's everything's relative. Is it a huge boom in them, or are we just seeing more kind of rising to the surface? I would say the latter. I would say there's more kind of rising to the surface nowadays. I have more clients, especially my investors, my fix and flippers, that are purchasing more foreclosures now than we were a year ago, 2 years ago. Absolutely. I think those are out there. One difficulty is if you're, looking to purchase a foreclosure as an individual, you're going to be competing with all of the institutional investors because there's still a limited supply of those that, man, they have their numbers so tight on their renovations, or if they're going to, rehab it and rent it, that sometimes purchasing those foreclosures still doesn't make sense, especially with the amount of work they need. So I think there are more. I think that they're just kind of still not making sense for everyday buyers because the inventory is still relatively low, and the fix and flippers and the institutional buyers are just gobbling them up before anybody else has a chance at them.
Elk Grove feels far from Sacramento for some reason. It does. Elk Grove is its own thing. I get a couple of people actually from Elk Grove. They get a little bit annoyed when I start saying, "Oh, there's not a lot of shopping in Elk Grove." They're like, "Come on, Elk Grove is its own definitely thing." I mean, it's growing. There's maybe been like a month or two that I remember over the last maybe like 7 years where Elk Grove was slow, but it's like one of those markets where like everything in the world could be like the real estate market could be dead slow, and Elk Grove is still going. It's just that hot of a market, it just goes and goes and goes. That's why so many new homes are being built there, and they're just going and going and going and building and building and building. So yeah, no, Elk Grove is still very, very good. All right. Roseville 55 community doesn't have solar, but could I install? I would say one is if you look around, you might see solar already, and some people might have installed it. Especially if I'm guessing it's probably like, I'm guessing it's probably what you're talking about is Sun City in Roseville. But I would say looking around the homes and seeing if anyone's installed it is going to give you a little idea if it's allowed. I wouldn't imagine HOA would discourage you from doing that. I haven't really seen those in HOAs, but here's the thing. I'll tell you this, and anonymously, my number, you have it, Corey's number as well too. If you text us a community, I'll get you a definitive answer. I probably have connections over there anyways. What do you think, Corey? I mean, that'd be weird, right? HOA saying you can't install solar. That's
I don't think, yeah, and I could be wrong on this, so don't quote me, but I don't think, especially with the state laws regarding solar and energy laws, that they can deny you installing solar, especially when the state law is requiring it on every new build out there. I don't think there's any. I would be shocked to if an HOA is saying you cannot. So I would almost guarantee that there is a way to install it. You just want to make sure, every house is different, and seeing if that's worth it, and making sure you're working with a good solar company, because gosh, there's some people out there that just kind of charge an insane amount for a tiny little system that doesn't make a difference. So make sure you're working with a good reputable company and get multiple quotes.
all right. I'll find out about Sun City. I'll see if I can make a note about that and see if I can find out about it. I have a
I'm
very
I'm
good
fairly
friend of
certain
mine.
that you can. I've sold a couple in Sun City, Roseville, and I'm fairly certain that you can in that area, because I
Oh,
could be wrong again, but I'm fairly certain that I've sold homes in that area that have solar already.
here's a trick. I would say also calling a solar provider and telling them about the community itself. I'm sure they've probably done business there, installed or not. 100%. So that could be something if you find a solar provider that's like within like maybe a quarter mile, I bet you they've done some business there. But if you want, reach out. I'd love to help you with that. All right. Jason has been a fantastic guest, realtor. Oh man, I think Lori's messing with you. Oh no, I meant Corey. It's been a fab guest, realtor. Corey's awesome, and he's one of the guys that one of the people here that I love having on the show because integrity. He does great business. He's a hustler. He's always out there, guys. I mean, if he's showing 20 spots to maybe 5 or 6 different clients in a day, that's what he does. And he's really good about that stuff. He does commercial, he does investments, but he just does everything. So he's a wealth of information. And I only bring you guys the best guests. All right. Was out looking at homes. And most builders boosted their prices 3 to 10K for last few months ago. I know that grammar wasn't there on that sentence, but that's me, not you. So prices up 3 to 10Ks for a few months ago, and it's not stopping anyone from buying. Most of the good incentives gone too. Yeah, I know. Here's the thing. A lot of builders tend to shoot themselves into the foot at times, and they did the same thing last year, and then they brought back incentives and it was too late. So I think they're anticipating that spring is going to be better than it was last year, and summer was going to be so they're kind of gearing up for that. So it's either gonna work and they're gonna start selling like crazy, or they're gonna fall flat on their faces, and then maybe towards August you should see some incentives back. Now, here's the thing for a lot of the communities that I've been seeing at, especially in Rancho, it seems like Bloom is doing crazy. Tri Point is building all dirt. The Rancho community of Woodside, those two Woodside ones, those things are impossible to get into. There's like a waiting list of 30 people as well too. But we got our ins there. So, I'd say right now, what you're noticing is that if a community is new, it's hot. And you're going to be able to tell. Look, here's the thing. If you don't want to work with a realtor, I totally get it. But at times, I would say go to some of these homes and go to some of these communities during like peak hours and just see the traffic. It's totally like an obvious thing, right? So if you go like to Beezer, if you go to Woodside, you're going to see a big traffic difference. If you go to Elliott, it's going to be Snoozeville. You're going to see that kind of traffic. And then if they have QMIs, quick move-ins, you're going to know it's a little slower. If they're building dirt, they're going quick. So those little things, and we can help you as well too if you want to. What do you think, Corey?
No, I'd agree. I'd agree. I would ask the builder what their build plan is. If they have inventory on hand, you can kind of tell that they're moving slow. And then you'll see more of those quick move-ins where they're going to give you that, 3.99% interest rate or some sort of discount or free upgrades, things like that. If they're saying, hey, we're only releasing 3 homes or 3 lots at a time, and we're building them kind of spec, and if you reserve them now, you can get in, then that's a builder or a community, I should say, that is moving faster. And I'm working with a client right now that is dealing with this exact situation. She's debating if this lot in a new build, which is already framed, it's not finished, but it's framed, is the right one for her. And it's there. The builder is only going to build 3 more after this one is complete, and once those are sold, then they're going to build the next 3. And this is where the people have been commenting on pricing changes with builders. Builders like to feel this out with where the market's going, especially in times of change, going into a spring market. A lot of builders, if they don't have built up inventory, they're going to move slower because they know if they move slow and build a lot of momentum and a lot of a big buyers list, that they can build those next couple and pump up those prices, even if it is 3 to 10 grand, like that the last commenter was saying. So they want to get the most amount of money from their builds, but if they have a lot of inventory on hand, that's kind of a signal that there's less demand for that community than maybe a different one.
No, 100%. As far as I'm noticing some home prices going up versus down, is that because spring is coming? Absolutely. The demand isn't just there just yet, right? There is activity and there's more people like kind of like calling realtors and saying, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Sacramento. I'm not really sure. That kind of call is happening right now too. But a lot of people have been waiting for this spring specifically. Last year wasn't great for a lot of people. So this spring, everyone's putting a lot of like focus on this spring to be good. Now, will it be good? Will it not be good? I mean, only time will tell. And the only place you're going to really find out if spring is going to be good is on this channel, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Every single week live, shameless plug. But it is going to be almost a week-to-week thing. We're going to try to figure it out because last year was the same thing. Everyone was doing this exact same thing. And a lot of sellers put their high prices a little higher, 2.75ers, and it just kind of squashed the market. So hopefully this year is better than it was last year. I mean, I'm thinking it's probably going to be around the same, but we're going to see. I think in March, April, you are probably going to see fresh new inventory hitting the market. The good houses that people have been waiting on will probably fly. But it'll be interesting to see those other houses that, we saw maybe the last year that are popping on the market again, how they'll do. That will be very much interesting. And we'll see what the pricing looks like because that's going to be a driver for the market. You know what I mean, Corey?
Yeah, exactly. And I could put this into like a real world situation for a lot of people right now is I'm dealing with a home that I'm in contract on with a buyer, and we have an appraisal that came in low. The asking price of the home, we ran comps when we made the offer, and we did note that it was a little bit higher than what was selling in the neighborhood. But the home had upgrades that are like a perfect fit for my buyer. Like they didn't want any other home, even if they can get it for 30, $40,000 less. So we're dealing with this low appraisal, but in the area, and appraisers only look at sold comps. They don't really
Yeah.
look at actives, or sometimes they'll give some weight to like pendings, but There's 4 other pendings in the area that are priced higher than ours with less square footage, less updates, and they are not giving those any weight. And that's kind of showing kind of exactly where we are in this new spring market coming out of kind of a relatively slow fall market of last year. And now we're coming into this spring market. We were one of the first people to kind of jump on one of these homes in this beautiful area in Elk Grove. And if we're going to be kind of one of if we end up closing on it, we'll be one of those first comps in that area if we close at one of these higher prices, that all of these other comps will follow, and that'll kind of adjust that pricing that realtors are going to look at when they're running comps, appraisers are going to look at when they're running comps, and that kind of resets the tone for that market going into the spring, summer, and into the fall. But anything can happen. We're still in negotiations on that, and we don't know if that's going to end up closing or not, or we don't know if those other pendings are going to get low appraisals and encounter the same issue. None of them may end up closing, and that might hold the prices down. But just seeing that activity there kind of signals to me that yes, there's more buyer activity with interest rates ticking down a little bit. That does unlock some liquidity for buyers to spend a little bit more. And I'm seeing really good loan options coming out with the
Yeah.
Dream for All program, and lenders seem like, at least in my experience, they've kind of like loosened the rope a little bit on what they're willing to do and the loan options that are out there. And so I think that's going to all kind of play into this market that we're going in. I don't think it's going to be a frenzy. I think it's going to just be an uptick in activity, an uptick in prices, slightly, that we're going to move through as we go through the season.
I love it. I love it. I agree with you. Now, guys, here's the thing. Corey and I are realtors here. And if you guys are going to be selling your home and everything too, Corey, of course, can list your home as well too. On this channel, we profile every single house that we're listing, starting, we've been profiling it. And here's one we got coming on the market, and it's coming on the market literally in a few minutes. And we'll give you a little bit of a preview of what that looks like. And if you guys are interested in this house, let me know directly. I can give you the inside scoop.
Some homes will catch your attention. This one will leave you speechless. This one-of-a-kind custom home sits on a full acre of usable land in a private hilltop community with killer views. One of my favorite parts of the house is the grand balcony overlooking those beautiful El Dorado Hills sunsets. Add in a full butler's kitchen, open concept great room, wood-burning fireplace. This is an entertainer's dream.
The way down, there's no way to stop this now. Oh, it's happening too fast, no turning back. I hope we don't hit the ground, but baby, don't let me wake up without you.
This isn't just a home, it's a lifestyle. Come check it out for yourself. Shoot us a message and we would love to give you a private tour.
All right, we got it all here, guys. Jason, I'm throwing this out there, man. I'm bringing my Instagram game up. Remember with the open door, would manipulate the comps during COVID. We'd buy 49 homes in the same area, 600K. Then the 50th, they'd pay 700. Yeah. Open doors, was not good. But guys, back to that home real quick. You guys are looking for El Dorado Hills, views, acre. This is prime stuff. And you guys are getting it first on this channel. And if you list with us, you get your home featured on this channel as well too. Corey, what'd you think, man? 1 acre, El Dorado Hills. You see those views?
Mark, send me the address before that goes on market, because I think I got a buyer for you, and I don't want that one. I'm not joking with you. That is beautiful, and that's in El Dorado Hills.
El Dorado Hills, man. Views like no other. Gorgeous house. And, like I said, the location is everything. Yeah, I'll get you those when we get off. And guys,
yeah,
we're all done
text
for the
it to
night
me when we get off.
Now we're good. Guys, I hopefully enjoyed the show. Like I said, if you're looking for realtors, if you're looking for people to buy or sell your house, Corey's amazing. My team, we'd love to work with you as well too. We work Sacramento, the whole metro area, El Dorado, Placer, Yolo, Sacramento counties, and we'd love to work with you. And that's it. The show is done. Please like, comment, subscribe. Corey, any parting words?
Mark, just as always, thank you. I feel blessed and honored to be on your show. I love working with you, and just thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for everybody who's participated. And yeah, if you need anything at all, you have questions for us, you just want to have a casual conversation, reach out to Mark, reach out to myself. Would love to help you with any real estate needs you have, commercial, residential, leasing, whatever it may be. We can help you with it. Thank you.
Remember,
again,
guys,
Mark.
no problem at all, my friend. And guys, remember, at the end of the day, time your life, do not time the market, and I'll see you next show. Okay, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight. Buying and selling is stressful. I mean, there are definitely different avenues you can go in, and there's no guarantee. Every property is different, whether you're looking to buy it or sell it. So reach out to our team, and we can talk to you a little bit about the pros and cons of selling currently, what your house is valued at, and all that stuff too. There's a link below to schedule a call. Now, if you're thinking about moving to the area, guys, reach out to our team as well. We're working with a lot of people relocating them to the Sacramento area. We absolutely love it. There's a Zoom link below. Set up a time where we can talk to you a little bit about what your needs are. Now, if you enjoyed this live broadcast, smash that like button. We would love to talk to you a little bit about Sacramento. I mean, we always are out and about. So if you're looking at places like El Dorado, Roseville, Rockland, Davis, we got you covered. Just reach out to us. And maybe you don't want to do a Zoom call, so just hit me at my phone number on the banner, and we can talk a little Sacramento. Now, guys, one last thing before I go. There's a playlist right over there of other videos I've done about the Sacramento area. Knowledge is power. Those videos will help you kind of make a decision if Sacramento is that spot for you and you want to take it to the next stage. All right, guys, this is Mark. Have a good one. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Remember, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next video.